we all kind of formed in a garage. Even just that moment was kind of like, wow, there's something special here.
We were literally getting paid like 20 quid to pay for like 80 quid to get to London and back to play to like 2 people every weekend.
Behind the scenes, there was a lot going on. The management and record label, and then ended up we had to leave because.
The Hunna, thank you so much for joining us on the Man Overboard podcast.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time. On a pretty decent UK tour at the minute in Huddersfield tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is only, I think it's the second time you've played in Huddersfield. What was the decision in terms of kind of doing some of these smaller venues again? Do you prefer that style and that smaller crowd?
Yeah, I mean, like we did the Parish towards the end of last year, and we had we just had such a sick time. Like, the venue's really cool, the fans were crazy. It was a standout show. So, this year our goal is basically we just want to be out on the road again and just with the fans again. We've kind of been in a cycle of doing tours, and then there's too much downtime, which is one thing that we've like kind of cut out from leaving certain companies and management and stuff. We're totally independent at the moment, so our biggest thing was just to get back out on the road, and going to places that we haven't been even in the UK is so much fun. Like, we did Blackpool last night for the first time, and
that was wild.
it was like playing, like going back to the good old, like the first days when we started. And it's just electric, and it means so much to the people there as well. They can't believe that we're coming through to Blackpool and places like that. So it goes a long way, and we just love to play anywhere. So yeah.
I think some of those smaller venues and stuff, you have a much better connection with fans. And as a fan
100%.
going to lots of gigs, I feel like that energy in the room, everyone can feel it. And everyone's like part of that same vibe in that very moment. But this is coming off a pretty big show at Download as well.
Yeah.
What was it like playing there? Was it your first time playing Download?
First time, yeah. It
was.
was amazing.
It was very wet.
Yeah, it was very muddy, very wet. But it's something we've wanted to do for a long time. I think just being in a band with, the opportunities, some have come and some haven't. And for us, it was definitely like a special one for us. First gig since the last tour last year. So it was like a long gap, like a 8-month gap. And to go straight to that was pretty wild for us. But
straight into main stage.
Straight
as well,
to main stage. And we ripped it. We loved it. But like you said, we love big and small gigs. But the small ones are... a lot more up and close, and there's not much of a big barrier in the way, so that makes it quite tricky at times to kind of like engage with the fans. But there's none of that here. Like, it's to the point where we've done so many small shows where people are on stage teasing the crowd. So we love it all though. We just want to play everywhere and anywhere. So.
Did had the rain started by the time you came on at Download?
It
Because I know
literally just started.
It was about 2 bands after, wasn't it? Baby Metal.
Baby Metal.
Got about a song and a half in, and then just got written off entirely, didn't
we were
they?
quite lucky because when we were on stage just before we went on, it was the lightning was going off, thunder was happening. It was quite like the irony.
The sun came out.
Yeah,
so,
we opened the set with a track called "The Storm" as well from our last record, and it was just quite ironic.
That keeps happening.
We're like, we're so cool if it like did it at the same time.
And then did you stick around for the rest of the day at all? Did you watch any of the bands whilst you were there?
We did, yeah. It was a hectic day. I mean, in terms of like getting to watch people, is tough because, it's so hectic backstage anyway. Because there's so many artists and so many guests and friends and stuff. So, and for us, it was our first time, so we had a lot of friends and family that came down. So yeah, I mean, we were basically just hanging around backstage and just shooting the shit with anyone that we saw and having a good time and Jack saw Limp Bizkit the Sunday.
Yeah, I went back the next day. I bought wellies, and they're one of my all-time favourites. So first time seeing them for me, and they blew me away, and I couldn't have been happier. So that was enough for me. But I did watch Sum 41 and Bowling for Soup and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Limp Bizkit put on such a good set that I reckon they're definitely headlining.
They should have been. They should have been.
100%.
I thought they would have been. I'm surprised it wasn't.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
They absolutely ripped it, and Fred's the man.
But then again, Avenged Sevenfold do have a really big following.
Yeah, apparently it was quieter though. Supposedly, a lot of people left when I left after Biscuit. So, but each to their own, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, they were amazing.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of rumours for Download next year, and I keep seeing that Nickelback are meant to be one of the big people headline, and I'd absolutely love that. Nickelback have gone from one of those bands that were a bit of like, people used to try rip into them online all the time, and then the fandom has just grown more and more in the last few years, and I absolutely love to see it.
I mean, they got hits, man. They got hits for days.
They've got
like
huge
more
bangers.
than you realise. They're a good band.
I really like them. And yourselves, I feel like there's been a bit of a heavier direction, especially on the last record. Although I think that those kind of undertones have always been there on a lot of the albums. But is that a decision you made, or is it just the natural evolution of the band to kind of have a full record where there's a lot more maybe grunge to it?
It was a natural progression, really. Like you said, like even on the first record, 100, you know, everyone used to say to us when they come and see us live that it was a lot heavier live than on the record, and that was, you know, we've always been huge fans of, like, Deftones is one of our united kind of favorite heavier bands. Slipknot. You know, we listen to so much different music, from, you know, the Beatles to, it's just Paramore. It's all over the place for us. So and I think that shows in our music as well. Like, we have heavier numbers and we have some poppier numbers. So we try not to put a box on it, really. But in the early days, we were like kind of trying to go a bit heavier on record, and the label at the time were kind of pushing back and trying to, you know, because things were going so well, so they kind of wanted to keep it like that, whereas we wanted to spread our wings a bit. So
they tried to push us in like sessions that weren't our vibe as well.
Yeah.
And I think with the fourth record, the three of us just were in a room and there was no gimmicks. It was just natural, and our tastes all just blended into a pot, and that's what came out, really. Like,
so I'm guessing it's more enjoyable for you guys doing it this way than it was 100%, before.
Yeah.
So much better, yeah.
I actually had a question around, because there's been a few songs that have related to the record label and management, etc. How did you find that as a new musician? Because you found success really early. And managing that and kind of managing those relationships has obviously changed throughout time. What's the journey been like going to being an independent artist? And maybe how difficult was it being stuck to a label that you weren't a fan of? I don't know how much you can talk about something like that.
Absolutely savage, dude. It's like, it's also repetitive, and everyone's very similar within the industry. It's all like, it almost doesn't work. It's not compatible.
There's so many opinions as well. And like,
it's so distracting.
We're surrounded by too many people in a team, which then, and even they all have different ideas, and so it's confusing, and we want to go a direction, 3 people want to go that way, 3 people want to go that way, so it was stressful, but we always maintained ourselves in it, even though it was a struggle and, like Dan said, stressful and stuff. But and we did it for years, so it became normal, but we also knew that it shouldn't be that way. So I think we've been saying it recently, we broke the chains off, and we've only been independent recently, but even before that we were basically doing everything ourselves anyway, so it wasn't the craziest of adjustmets.
We're incredibly lucky we have each other as well. We always say, imagine being a solo artist, it must be really difficult. Like, at least we can rely on each other and do it as a group. And like, we know we're best mates, so we can tackle it together and crack on.
We rode a few waves.
There's too many middlemen out there that pretend like they have a real big impact on what artists do, when really it's just a figurehead position, and they're not actually doing much, but they're taking almost everything from the artist, and the artist is always left the one kind of chasing. So, you know, we've been through it from the first 2 records. Again, like you said, everything kind of kicked off very quickly, and things were going really well to everyone else, but behind the scenes there was a lot going on with the management and record label, that then ended up we had to leave because they were screwing us over. You know, we never saw any of our advances, we never saw any of the money that we made. He ripped off producers, record labels, etc. So we had that early on, and that was a big one. And again, that was a scary moment, but like Dan said, you know, we've always, even before the Hunna was the Hunna, because to everyone else it came pretty quick, but we were going around and playing to 5 people here and 5 people there for years and years before the Hunna was a thing, you know, but everyone thinks that that's the first of it.
It wasn't 10 years before that.
Yeah, there was like a good 7, 8, 10 years before that to get to that point. So it's been a ride, but that's the whole point of it, is to go through those tough moments and show yourself that you can come through it, which then means that at the beginning of this year, when we were in not a similar position in getting fucked over, but just a position where unfortunately we weren't aligning with what the label wanted to do. So we decided, you know, trust our gut. We've been here before feeling these feelings. Let's cut it now And since then, we've felt so much lighter. We've felt so much happier doing what we're doing, and the tour so far has been amazing with the fans. So
yeah. So speaking on that, you were saying it took you a little while to get to the point before you became the Hunna and who you are today. At what point did you decide, right, we're solidified in what we are now, this is how we're going to move forwards? Like, was there a change in anything that made you do that?
I personally think when we met. Because we all went to music college at different times. These boys met at the same college I went to, but I was a few years ahead. So that alone, I didn't know them. But then when we all kind of formed in a garage, that was even just that moment was kind of like, wow, there's something special here.
Yeah, I would say it was the first,
and then the gigs,
first rehearsal when Jack came in.
Yeah,
the first time that he came in and played with us, and we started playing a song that we had, Brother, which is on the first album, and we started playing it. He came in with the drums, and as soon as he started playing, me and Dan looked at each other like, this is it.
And we did a couple of years of Alaska Campus, the band before, which was this, these guys. And,
that band was awesome, man.
Yeah, so I was kind of like indie. New to Alaska Campus, and then after us having a couple of years of gigging and trying to get interested by labels and management, that's when just naturally the Hunna came, because we just hung out all the time, and the name came from that. And
I mean, we were grinding as well. Like we were literally getting paid like 20 quid. To pay for like 80 quid to get to London and back to play to like 2 people every weekend. Yeah. Like we were literally making money in jobs to pay for everything in the band. Like
just that hustle, isn't it? Yeah,
could easily be like, nah, this is not worth it.
Yeah,
you're not making any money.
Parents being like,
yeah,
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
I need
go get a real job.
But give me this money. Yeah, go and get a real job. Where's your money going? And every time it was just like being a little rascal out there.
Going back to London to pay to one person.
And we did have jobs. Like we had jobs all the way up to when the first person, the guy with no name, came across us and was interested. And at that point, it was like, you have to let go of the jobs to pursue it full time, and we did, and. Yeah. We never looked back, really. So, but it's been insane since then. But we're happy now. So,
yeah,
good. That's all that matters, really. We've got a question we ask everyone on the podcast, and I feel like you guys are going to have some pretty fun answers. And based on the closeness, I think they might be pretty similar.
Okay.
So it is for your dream festival acts. So 3 headliners: Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. You can throw in a couple of like sub headliners, etc. if you want to, but. Okay. Friday, Saturday, Sunday headliners.
So we've had people make super groups of people that have passed, people that are still with us. Wow, there's no limits, anybody at all, ever.
Is that 3 each, or?
Yeah, if you have 3 each, I mean, you can come up with a joint.
Okay.
I would definitely, if it's like past people as well, I would definitely like. I was gonna say the Beatles in general, but if you're saying like supergroup, I would love to put like George Harrison, Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon.
That's super.
The Beatles featuring Jimmy.
maybe, but yeah, I mean, I'm not really like a Paul guy, but George and John, I would love to just watch them and hear their songs live. That would be amazing. And Jimmy, of course, by me.
I'd say Nirvana, hands down. Just to see Kurt.
Alice in Chains for me.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
I had like to bring back Lane.
Yeah, I think
this is the thing, because we can go and see Deftones, we can go and see Limp Bizkit. So I think you've got to go with like the goats. That
I think for me, bring back Thin Lizzy, man.
Thin Lizzy,
bring back Phil, man.
Yeah,
we need that afro and that attitude.
I think Queen would have to be headlining one night as well, just to have Freddie back as well.
I reckon Queen feels like a Sunday, like go out.
Yeah, go out with a bang, like
go large.
Freddie.
That's it.
Yeah,
I'd put maybe not headliner, because we're talking about some absolute goats. They are goats as well, but somewhere on the bill, I'd like to put Linkin Park, just because again, Chester.
Great shout.
Like,
I'd definitely have them as a headliner.
We need more than 3 days.
But yeah, just again, I never got to hear Chester live, and that would be amazing.
I put Blink back in there as well, because Tom's back, so I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it with Tom, like not as headliners, but like openers.
They can be like
pretty big openers.
Just in a tent somewhere.
Yeah, in a tent. Yeah.
Blink opening for Linkin Park.
Yeah, there you go.
Linkin Park.
Well, they were actually meant to do that tour before Chester passed. They just announced they were going to do a Linkin Park tour, and I think I would have been in tears.
Yeah.
I'd have been like 16, begging my parents to get me a ticket for that. Anything in the world.
I'd like to see Slipknot as well with Joey back in it. Like another, So
but not Slip.
Yeah, we saw a band in Newcastle. We played at the O2, and we were partying afterwards in the downstairs club, and we were like, fucking Slipknot. It was actually not Slip, and it was a tribute act to Slipknot. And we met the fake Corey outside.
We did, yeah.
It was pretty fucking wild.
I remember going downstairs and walking down the corridor, and they were walking towards me, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what's going on?"
Not Slip.
They were cool.
Hopefully they're still going.
Yeah, they were really good.
I really like the names that like tribute bands come up with for certain acts. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
good one.
Not Slip, man.
So yeah, any more guys?
It's always hard to think of.
On the
I mean, there's so many.
Brand new, put Brand New in there, man. Come on. Deftones as well for sure.
Deftones. Yeah.
Original Glassjaw for me. They're a massive influence.
I'd have Jimmy Eat World just because we toured
Jimmy
with them
World,
in the early days, and they're a band that kind of really kind of sum up a lot of what the Hunna sound and stuff is. Like they're a good a good mixture, which I think we kind of lend ourselves to as well, where it's kind of heavy but it's not, it can lend itself to the poppier side as well. So
man, they were phenomenal.
They were amazing.
It blew our mind.
We'd bring Night Rights back. They're like a California band that we toured with in the States, and they split actually after playing Reading with us, and I fucking cried just because we were so close to them. So one more night with the Night Rights.
Come back
so that
he can cry again.
Travis, do it.
Happy tears.
Come on, we'll have the Denver boys open. We'll have the Denver boys.
Yeah,
Denver boys opening as well. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
You know, main
really
support here.
The mega festival.
The list goes on, man.
Paramore, Haley for sure. Paramore.
I mean, I'd have to have Biscuit back again.
TBS, Taking Back Sunday.
There's been some big shouts there. We've had a lot of fun recently. We've been doing like the most controversial possible TikTok clips or Instagram clips where we'll give our top 10 pop punk artists or something along those lines.
Yeah, nice.
And the whole comments is just Jimmy Eat World at pop punk. And we're like, well, they are for a little bit. And then it kind of changes. Yeah, and we've even had someone say,
pop punk.
Green Day and pop punk.
Yeah.
It is the most entertaining place, the internet.
Yeah.
But on that tour with Jimmy Eat World, what was that feeling like when they invited you on tour initially?
I mean, it was our first ever tour in America, and we were going out for 3 months doing 3 different tours. And it started with the Jimmy tour, and we literally, just getting off the plane and like being in America for the first time, being like, okay, shit, we're here, like this is incredible. And then the next day, we literally like walked into the venue with all of our gear, and they were sound checking, and of course they were sound checking like just one of the gnarliest riffs, and we were just stood there and they just blew our head off in sound check.
It didn't feel real.
It didn't feel real. And
we were actually late because of my visa as well.
We were late.
We were like 3 days
late
because I lost my passport. So that sucked. I felt really bad. It was like a terrible start, but we won them over, and we ended up, and we couldn't believe that Jimmy, the lead singer, is Jim. Like we were like,
it's Jim.
Fuck.
Yeah. He's super cool. Like, after every show, he smokes a cigar, and like it just looks awesome when he does it.
Yeah, he's a dude.
Their family were on tour with us as well, so they were like playing catch while we were sound checking.
Yeah, it was a very wholesome tour. And again, like for a new band, for us going over there, like again, just so pro. And to watch them every night, you learn a lot about showmanship and
how
they're
tight
so
they were.
tight.
Yeah.
And it was a big learning curve for us, and we definitely took that on. It was nice.
It was theatres as well, so you got to sit down and watch them like a cinema. It was just like, wow, this is
cool places in America. We went to some really cool places.
Yeah. So we loved it. We were very honoured, and we'd love to do it again with them for sure.
Yeah, that'd be quality. Speaking of those early days, your debut album, 100, that's nearly 10 years old now. And it's, I mean, I guess behind the scenes, it's probably been 10 years since you started making music together. How does that feel in itself, the fact the band's still going this strong, producing different sounds, different amazing albums, but that album been 10 years old, pretty much?
Again, it's
accomplishment.
It is a huge accomplishment. Like, to think again, like when we were, teenagers going around trying to make this a dream reality, to be sat here and be like, we're going on to 10-year anniversary of the first album is amazing, and that album is still so loved by all of our fans and us. And I think again, this tour, like every night, is just testament to the band and the community that we've made, and that's the sole reason why we're in a position where we can go independent and we can do this and have the luxury of that, because our fans have been through thick and thin with us, and we've formed such a tight relationship with them. It's not like hanging out with fans. It's like, it is like friends, and we've watched people grow up with us, and they keep coming back again, and it's just a special thing. And that is way more than what we could have ever dreamt up. So
definitely,
it's a big testament. So yeah, we're looking forward to the 10-year anniversary and hopefully many more. And
we actually thought it was next year, and it's actually 2026. So we jumped the gun a little bit, but we're gonna make a big thing of it and have a big 10-year anniversary. So
yeah, it'll be sick.
Yeah, that would be really good. I looked for a vinyl of it the other day, and it's impossible to get.
I know.
So you need to get those sorted. I thought in my head maybe they're waiting for the 10-year anniversary because that's like the perfect opportunity.
You know, trying to find a like shiny Charizard. Honestly, that vinyl was impossible.
That kind of goes back onto the story of like just being mishandled and you know, just everything wasn't
being overlooked.
Yeah, and like we've had so many people over the years going, I want to buy vinyl, and it's so shit to be like, I'm so sorry, but we don't have any, but we're going to repress the shit out of them.
If anything, though, that kind of adds a little bit to it.
Yeah, of course.
When it's a bit more limited edition, those original ones will forever hold.
Yeah. But we've missed out on a lot of people getting their hands on it, which we also feel bad on, like, because so many people, it's quite hard. It's a broken record, no pun intended, like, to say, like, constantly, like, so sorry, I don't know where it is. Like, my mum goes to H&V, bless her, now and again, and there's only one Hunna CD or vinyl in there, and it's like, fucking hell, it wasn't even out on the shop, it was behind the counter. But we're going to change that because we're taking over.
And that's the good thing now about being, you know, in the position we're in. It's like we can address and get to everything as soon as it comes in, because, you know, and we've made a lot of friends and good relationships within, you know, managements and people within the music industry and stuff, but ultimately they have their focus is in other places as well, and no one is going to give 100% or care as much as we do. So it's just so much better now because we can just get to things straight away and just sort it out, and we just feel like we're making up a lot of lost ground. So
that's really good. And I know at Download you played a new song.
Correct.
Does that mean there might be a new album on the horizon soon?
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
at some point.
Yeah, we're like, again, we're in no rush for like an album to come out. We've been doing a lot of writing, and we have songs that we want to put out this year. It probably won't be an album this year, but definitely some singles and more touring. And then we've spoke potentially about an album next year. But yeah, we're just enjoying the ride at the moment, and we do have a song that's kind of pretty much ready to go, which is the one that we played at Download. So.
Yeah, I suppose nowadays, now that you're independent, you also don't have that pressure of feeling like an album has to come out this year, or you've got to meet deadlines.
That's honestly one of the reasons why we are where we are. Like, we don't want to have to do things for the sake of doing it. Like, we want to take our time and make the best art we can possibly make, and do things the way we want to do them. You don't have to release albums like every year. Like, you can just drop singles and do what you can do when you're doing it.
Yeah, just enjoy it, because again, like the whole the music industry setup is basically to go and do like loads of touring, or to do that thing. It's like you have to have an album out and you have to have this, and it's like the sole reason really for that is that's where the money is. Like, you have to do an album to get the advances, to have the money to do this and that. And we were just like, we've just done the 4th album. Like, we've got songs, but we don't think it's an album yet, and we want to take our time with it. And then and then they're like, well, if we don't take this and we don't do the album, then I don't really know what's there. And it's like, what kind of attitude is that? Exactly. Like, I don't. It's art. It's creativity.
It's funny.
I don't want to be thinking like, oh, we can't. I want to do this, but I can't do that because of this guy over here. And do you know what I mean?
If you don't have an album, you're not going to have a busy summer. It's like, well, we've got 4 albums, so we're good to go. And if we drop singles, I mean, you drop an album now, it's all singles.
Yeah.
Like, technically, but we're, like Dan was saying, it's for us, it's a body of work. It's an art. It's start to finish. It's not 10 individual tracks, but it can be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for us, I think it's take our time, and there's no rules, you know, and I think we've been told that these are the rules, and it's just bullshit.
Exactly. Some of the best albums of all time, they've been written with time. We can tick another box and just give someone another album, but it won't be a timeless, legendary album.
And it's the 5th record. Like, that's a big number, you know.
It's important to get it right.
And we want to love it as well.
Exactly. Like, when we can go back to 100, we spent like 2 years writing that. We wrote so many songs, and picked the best songs. We've still got songs from there,
from that time that we haven't released yet, that we might, we look at revisiting and stuff now. So,
and big songs and hits, they don't just come. Like, there's something of another.
And the industry
they
is
just come when they come.
The industry is in that world of like churning stuff out, like rappers bang.
Yeah.
And fair enough, they're independent, so they're deciding to bang out a song a month, you know. Or bands are like, here's another TikTok tune, here's like, and it's, you can tell there's no love in it, you know. So
that's the thing. Our music has always come from the heart, and the music that we listen to and the music that got us into this all came from the heart. Whereas a lot of now in the music industry, it's not. There are people that are doing that, but a lot of it is so saturated, and it's not coming from the heart. It's coming from a label taking someone with loads of numbers and trying to just push out a song after song and keep a trend going and keep a trend going.
And 10 seconds of the song.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, it's not even about,
let's just get that 10 seconds
song,
trended.
the story, and that's what we've always been about. And again, that's a testament to why we're going on 10-year anniversary, and we've got all these fans that are so passionate, is because they listen to our music and they relate to it and they can feel it and they get something from it, which is exactly what we wanted to do and exactly what songs did for us as well. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think there's some artists out there. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Eminem. I know it's not really in that field house, but he hasn't released anything in ages. He's left it, just however it is. He releases 1 or 2 songs when he's ready to release those songs, and it absolutely blows up and breaks records. So
exactly.
I don't think there's any need to be constantly releasing music and just you're basically wearing yourself out. And like you say, it's an art style, and you wouldn't expect Da Vinci to be pumping out paintings every other week.
Yeah.
So.
And you can't create your best work in an environment where you're being like, I need this now or I need this then. It's like it has to be a natural flowing thing, like
I do feel and maybe worry sometimes that like magic in music gets lost a little bit. And I think even now for young people that are trying to get into music and become a musician, it just seems like an impossibility because there's like been a lack of funding for however long now, 14 years, and it's still frowned upon as this thing is like it's not a real job. And I don't understand that. And I wanted to know how your process has changed over the last 10 years whilst you've been a band in terms of actually recording. Did it ramp up and now it's kind of going back down to a more just you four and a producer maybe? What's it like now recording songs in comparison?
At the minute it's
Very
literally just been us 3 in a room, and then we have Gil, who produced the 4th album, who's working with us on these new songs, and we have a guy called Tarrant who also worked on the 4th record with us, who is kind of Gil's engineer and stuff. So it's kind of just that at the moment. That's the team that's working on the music at the moment.
Less is more. Less is more for us.
And it's working really well. So again, we don't, unless there's someone that we meet that is gonna come in and really give something of real value to elevate everything, we're in a really happy spot. So
because even that's overhyped as well. Like you should work with them. You should work with them. If you do that, if you get that feature, you're gonna be huge. It doesn't mean anything because again, they don't care. You know.
Yeah. And we've been there, done that as well.
I do feel really sorry for like the younger generation in the music industry. Like it seems so hard. Like it's just almost like you said, kind of takes you away from actually caring about what you're doing. It's just more about the process of how you're doing it. Like the rush of creating content. You're more of a content creator than you are sitting there creating music.
Yeah. And
I think that's just such a difficult thing to have to play the game, because some people out there who are fantastic musicians are probably the most socially awkward people ever. You can't deal well with that, so they just get left behind, and it's just so much talent and time and effort that person has just being put in the back burner because they're not incredible with a camera or maybe not pretty enough, because it's so like that now. It's just shit.
Especially
so because it's different. When we came up, it was just Facebook marketing. It was just if you like this band,
YouTube,
like this band.
That's it.
And we were at the right time at the right place with that sponsor stuff. But like now, it's just so aggressive, and I hear stories from some people because the benchmark of how many followers they got to have, and then now like labels and their budgets are so much smaller. And it's just because they want to make the artists do everything themselves so they can save money but make more money.
They just squeeze.
It's just
to then say that we
really
made
shit.
them big. And I think that is the crazy thing. It's like bands deserve to get big by themselves, and that's why this tour as well is a good example of like we came from the roots of rock and pubs and the small circuits, and all the openers are doing that. and the main supports are on their way up as well. And it's like, we only want to fuck with people that are in it for the right reason, and all the bands are, and it's all organic. And you know, we've not got people on here that are TikTok stars, because that's not what we're about. That's not where we're from. So we're kind of supporting the scene around us because we were in their shoes. It's the exact same thing.
It's even difficult as well for like the setup of younger people now, like, because everything is so online. Like if you're doing a reel or you're doing a TikTok or stuff like that, like there's instant gratification now. So it's like you could put out one video of like 10 seconds or 30 seconds and it could blow up, and then all of a sudden this label or these labels come in for you because you've blown up, and you've got all these followers and stuff. So then you get signed and you get an advance, but you have to pay that advance back. But at the time, you know, you're not in that headspace, and then all of a sudden that one drops off, and then they want another one, so then you have to keep doing that, and you lose the one, you're just chasing, you don't want to create like that, and two, the pressure to then have that on top of you all the time is so much. And then if you don't get that same success, the label dips out and takes that person over there, and then all of a sudden you're on a super low. Like it's so mentally challenging. So
for someone so young,
and again, the labels, the labels and stuff, the people in the suits that just want the money don't give a shit about your mental health or how you are afterwards. You know what I mean? So
and you got to grind. You should have to grind for it. Like it shouldn't be an overnight thing. Like,
well, that's the experience as well.
Yeah, because that's what we did. We grinded for years and years. We were in bands before we even knew each other, and it's not handed on a plate, you know. And then you respect it. You learn as you go, rather than it's an overnight thing. Hey, it works for some people, but I think in general as a band, you need to just, it's so cheesy, but you do need to just go out there and do your thing and make your own wave.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of people do say as well, they're like, oh, if you can't play the game, then don't play it. And I get that, but also it's not the game. How the game is being played isn't music, though. It's it.
No.
It does include music, but it's not exactly.
It's a toxic situation.
It's just
Stay out of the game and do your own game.
I just feel sorry for the younger generation.
Yeah,
like, because even for us, when we had pressures from our label to do TikToks and stuff, it's just like we'll do it and it would work or whatever, and we were like, this is lame.
Yeah.
We feel like
it's
not
or it wouldn't work,
and you start to become like everyone else. Everyone looks this fucking same, says the same shit, does the same things. There's no originality, or it's really rare to come by originality these days. So yeah, it's not easy. And that's the thing with us, is with the social game as well. Because you get in that thing with the record label being like, oh, if you don't do this, you're going to fall behind or whatever. So then you try and do it. And again, you know, you have to go through those things to learn. And we just got to the point, luckily for us, very quickly, where we were just like, guys, we're not going to do, like, we're not going to do that. Like, you know, they're sending us videos of some artist in America or something that's had a radio play, and he's like on TikTok, you know, doing videos of him crying because he's had and that's cool for that guy, like if that was his moment, but I'm not gonna go on and fake cry. Like
it's about a childhood pet.
Yeah,
it's
like the game. You gotta play the game.
And it's like they're trying to turn the lead singer into this solo thing as well. And it's like, you know, Ryan's got an amazing voice. He doesn't need to have to go and do all these like, please come and support my band. We've had it so difficult. It's just like, come on. Like,
so you guys have definitely gone the right way of, you know, building yourselves up to a point, and then you get signed by the labels, and now you've come to realize, hang on, how we were doing it initially was the way that worked best.
Like I think what we're doing is great. I'm happy with it, and we're all just the way we want to do it.
In fact, we feel like we've done more in the last 3 months of being independent than we have in 2 years.
Because it's funny as well, because the days where we were just going around anywhere we could to play, and we were, you know, maybe gaining a fan here or 4 fans here or whatever, but we weren't signed, but we were together as a unit, and we were recording music, and we were getting better every time, so we were feeling better. And, you know, you're creating your own little buzz, like, even though you're not signed, and that's like the road to get there. Once you're actually in it, and then you get tangled up in all the music industry jargon and all that shit that's going on, there's obviously amazing highs in there, and we love every minute of it, but you get tangled up in all the negative stuff as well. And then now we've come out the other end through all that, and we've kind of taken it back to just ourselves. It almost feels like it's when we first started at that first stage, but we've got the fan base and stuff now. So it's almost like those bits were actually more enjoyable than all of that. And then getting back to now, it's like, it feels like that same spark and energy and happiness is there, joy, you know, for actually doing what we do.
A lot of outside noise that just us and table football.
As I said, the special part about it is as well, it's probably a lot of those fans from when you was first coming up and first touring and doing a lot of those random venues whenever you could, that are still the ones that are coming to this day. As you said, you've seen people grow up. And I wondered, nearly died, on venues, what would be your dream venue? If you could play it anywhere in the world, it can be a small place, it can be Madison Square Garden. If you could pick any venue to play.
We had somebody say the Pyramids, and we had no idea that there was a stage at the Pyramids. Which
was it the Chili Peppers that played there?
Yeah,
Chili Peppers at the Pyramids. I mean, I would love to play there. That would be so dope.
I have a weird thing for the Greek. So always wanted to play it. And it's not even that amazing or special. I just weirdly just want to get that off my bucket list.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we nearly had a show and it fell through there or something.
Yeah. Madison Square Garden would be cool. Again, like, we'd love to headline lots of festivals one day.
I think for shits and giggles, the Super Bowl.
That's a good answer.
Because we go in, like, it's always very polished, the performances, but we'd just be like kicking shit over and play trash maybe 3 times in a row.
I can't remember what it's called, but there's an amazing one in America, I'm sure, that's like, it's like outside and it's like kind of like red. Is it the Red Rocks?
Oh yeah, it's the Red Amphitheater. That's kind of like in the cliff type thing.
I'd love to do
I've
that.
seen that.
Like an Italian like Colosseum or something would be cool.
Yeah. I mean,
the actual Rome Colosseum is a venue as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be up there.
We'll play anywhere.
Yeah, and Tokyo. We want to go.
Anywhere.
We still haven't done Japan, so like,
Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you at the parish in Huddersfield tonight
on
the Linktree tours. But thanks so much for your time, lads.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Hopefully we'll chat again soon one day.
Definitely.